Hey everybody, and welcome back to the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming stuff, content, providers, CES. I'm Clyde. Today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey, how you doing?
Mike Laston.
Hello, everybody.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Hello once again.
Hey guys. We are all back together. We are on our normal day. Well, I guess we were on our normal day last week, but we are all back in our respective homes. There are not two of us sitting so close together that we have to share a microphone and sound weird. How's everybody doing?
I'm guessing that you two are happy to be sitting far apart now. Got enough of each other, right?
Well, I don't know about him, but I mean, didn't really see each other that much, so.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple days. For a couple hours.
It was a lot of fun. It is nice to have the voice isolation so that I don't have the speech jamming effect from my headphones.
Every time you talk, it's like, and yeah, I just want to say something here, so you're gonna talk to me. I'm okay. What's up? It's like, okay.
But it sounds like Clyde has gone home and started like breathing in sulfur hexafluoride.
Well, I kind of have. So, you know, you guys say it was it's an audio artifact from the, you know, the stuff that's running, but it may just be the way my voice sounds. I've felt kind of crappy the last couple of days, but I got back, crossed my fingers. I still haven't died from any con crud convention death. So, and I think I'm in the clear. Now that I say that, I'm probably going to be dead for the next 3 days, but
well, it's been pretty crazy, pretty normal week for us mostly. You know, by mean crazy, basically is that I've been staying up way too late watching too many episodes of Marvelous Miss Maisel, and with my wife, she's like, "Let's watch another episode." Okay, I think we're up to episode 5. So we've been having a lot of fun with that, and so
it's a great show.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
It's one of my favorite shows of the last year.
Okay. Well, should we go ahead and hit into the news?
I guess.
Okay.
There's a little bit there, isn't it?
It's all over the place. There's not a big story that happened this week, because we got a lot of little news. We're going to start off with a story about Hulu and NBC working together to bring you the Winter Olympics of 2018. They've decided that they're going to have their pretty normal NBC and NBC Sports and NBC Universal coverage of the Olympics on the cable services, but on top of that, they're also going to be providing various feeds and videos for you to watch on Hulu on demand, which will and you will be able to personalize the things you will want to be able to watch. So you can say, I really want to see figure skating. There you go. It's available to you. You could say, I want to do long distance skiing. You know, the cross country skiing one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what. But the biathlon is like amazing to watch. By the way, it's fun. So it sounds like the NBC is using their platform, which is Hulu, to further increase their reach with their Olympic coverage.
And this is going to be like an on-demand, not a live streaming, right?
I would not be surprised if they did offer at least like the opening ceremony.
I'd say on Hulu TV there should be live stuff, but on Hulu itself, Hulu doesn't really have a live capability by itself, so I would assume it would be on demand.
Yeah, it says that it'll send you clips of the highlights and the people. I like the fact that you can select specific athletes as well. I think that's pretty cool. So maybe you don't really particularly care about everybody in figure skating, but you particularly want to follow the number one figure skater for the U.S. or whatever it might be. I don't even know where to start, but you know that could be a nice way to do it. I personally don't really watch the Winter Olympics all that much. It's kind of hard for me to keep track of what's going on in the Olympics as a whole. So something like this actually is a really good tool for me, because there's kind of events and sports that I would be interested in, but knowing when to watch them and, spending the time to watch, where 75% of what you see is not what you really want to see. Distilling it to the highlights and showing me the highlights of exactly what I want in one place that I don't have to search for. That's really cool.
Oh man, I look for it every time. I like the ski jump.
Yeah.
And I will be perfectly honest with you guys. Until I saw this article in the show notes, I didn't even know there were Olympics coming.
Wow. It's a big deal. With the Winter Olympics, it's a big deal. It's in South
It's like
Korea.
Puerto Rican League of Baseball. But then again, I didn't care about the Summer Olympics either.
Ah, okay.
I'd be when I say it's the Puerto Rican League of Baseball, I don't mean that as a dig, because I actually kind of prefer the Puerto Rican League to Major League. So, yeah, if I was going to watch the Olympics, it would be the winter, but I just
So the
Okay.
the Olympic ceremony, the opening ceremony and the closing ceremony, my wife and I watched that. But the best thing that ever happened to watching the Olympic ceremony, at least for us, has been being able to DVR it and then fast forward through a lot of it, because you get to see all the countries and you get to see how many people there are. You don't have to listen to those commentators make horrible comments, because they have nothing to do for about 3 hours but to try to make up new things to say about basically the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, it's a little dreadful. But then you get to see it in fast forward, and it's kind of fun, because you go, oh, look, there's that country. Oh, there's this country. Wow, they got a lot of people out of that country. Well, only like 2 people in that country. Well, that's just super fast and lots of fun. And then you could stop and go, okay, let's see what they say about Brazil, since they're, for whatever reason, see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wabbit says he can't wait for curling, and
Curling.
I rather enjoy curling. There is a bar not far from here where it's actually a curling club, and when you're sitting up in the bar, it's got big glass windows, and you can see the people out there like on the ice practicing curling. And
Yeah. I like curling, and the thing that turned me on to curling was Hammer Falls. I think it was the 2016 or 2014.
you're talking the power metal
Winter
band Hammerfall?
the power metal band Hammerfall performed. They used one of their songs as the theme song for the Swedish curling team back in about 2014, and it was awesome watching a bunch of people curl to power metal, and then the band start trying to curl to power metal, and that was a disaster, and it was awesome. It's a great video. You should check it out. Don't even know the name of it, but it's a good video. Should be able to find it pretty easy with Hammerfall curling. So
I'm tempted to make a comment like curling is like horseshoes on ice with multiple teammates, but it's not. It's much better than that.
Well, rock on. I guess
Yep.
just like we'll say a couple weeks into the Olympics, that's enough talk about the Olympics. Why don't we move on?
All right, we have a story that the FCC is working on providing more money to get rural broadband out to everybody. It looks like they made an announcement for a proposal that would add $500 million in funding specifically for rural broadband. This is this has been pushed through the offices in order for to try to close the gap, because there's lots of people that are out there that don't have the speed out where they might not have as many options as now.
Yeah, isn't this what they said like 6 years ago, right? And they're supposed to do
No.
the same thing, and it still didn't happen yet. So, I don't know as if I believe they're really going to do this, because they didn't seem to do it last time either. So I don't know what makes this time around more believable.
It's a good question of where it would be interesting to find out where the $500 million ends up going and what it ends up doing. But
So I guarantee, and my prediction is that about a third of the money will actually go to it, and the rest will go to like bike paths and parks, because that's what the government does.
500 million seems like a ton of money, but the idea of rural broadband is extremely difficult. I mean, the reason there isn't rural broadband readily available is that, you know, how do you provide a high bandwidth experience to individuals that are spread out very significantly? I mean, the cost of running a viable line to each individual residence is very expensive. And even solutions like cell towers can be really shoddy and really hit and miss, depending on how far people are from the tower and whether there's hills and trees and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, there's not a really good solution for this. And $500 million isn't going to make a big dent in that problem. I mean, I guess you could throw a few more satellites up in space for that. And
based on the article here, it seems as if they're going to run wire.
Yeah. It's not going to run very much wire.
I don't know, maybe.
Speaking of somebody who actually come from an extremely rural area, central Washington, there's nothing out there. If you think Washington's full of trees, you don't know half of Washington. We got broadband out there because we worked really hard. We got the fiber optic out to our community, and we were one of the first communities in the nation, maybe not the first one, but one of them, to work hard to put fiber optics to the home. That we went through legal battles with various ISPs who came in and said that our PUD, our public utility district, was not allowed to do it the way they were doing it at first. But it is something that can be done. And you can get the broadband out to where you are, and you can get the television over those wires, and you can provide ways of making this available to everybody. So I'm for it. Go for it. I agree. The money's probably going to get wasted. It probably isn't enough for anybody, really. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I hope they do it. And the follow-up to this, I would think, so if they're going to do this, then I don't know. To me, it almost sounds like it's the first step toward having, like, say, a government ISP or something like that. So now you put the infrastructure out there. So the next thing is have a government service that everybody could have. And I would be for that if they make the service decent, right? If they give like a government service going at, like, say, 100 megabits per second, okay, I could go for that. But if they give a government service.
So you're hitting on so many various points that have already been gone through by various people of various communities.
I think
are not going on. That those issues have been looked at and worked on, and there are ways that can be done. And it's really, we need to get the broadband to the community, and then we need to have local businesses get the broadband from the center point of the community out to other people. There's ways to do that.
I think I can talk for Clyde when I say that definitely having the government manage the broadband solutions is the way to go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
No. So the idea is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want the government managing all of the ISPs, right? That I don't want.
No, right? He's saying managing this rollout to get it done.
Really anything, right? I mean,
no, absolutely. Anything they can do, I say they take it on.
No, but here's the idea I have. So if the government were to roll out a government ISP and they made it, say, 100 megabits per second, that's the level of service you get. Then anybody else, like, say, AT&T or the Comcast, any other ISP, would have, in order for you to pay money for it, right, would have to be better than that, right? So that forces them to give a higher level.
They probably wouldn't have to do anything, and they'll already be better than that. I mean,
just so you know, that can't happen. the laws have already come across to say that the government cannot compete. You can't have the government compete directly with real businesses that are already there, and so that would be
except they do with mass transit. And
how about so the U.S. mail is not competing?
Well, there's arguments about
no,
that.
actually,
Absolutely.
U.S. mail is not competing because U.S. mail does regular parcel.
Come on,
yeah.
You really going to say that it doesn't compete again?
There's a key word there that Matt said that is already there.
Yes.
So U.S. mail, U.S.
Was
Postal
first.
Service was in place before UPS and DHS and FedEx and stuff started.
Mhm.
So that's they have they're grandfathered in, right? Like they get to continue operating despite the fact
their days are numbered. I mean, they're struggling to keep the post offices open as it is because they can't even do the one thing that they need to do effectively. And that right there proves the point that I was trying to make in the fact that even if the government did create their competitive internet provider, the other services would already be better. So it's just the track record.
Okay, well, I could talk on about this for a while long, but I'm not going to.
We should spend the rest of the show getting into the politics of government.
We should have Gary on. I've got Gary. I can call him up right now.
If you wanted to, that'd be fine. But real briefly, just to say, when Grant County, Washington, went ahead and started their fiber optic project, and they started offering 1 megabit per second. Now that doesn't sound like much now, but back in the day, that was a lot. Guaranteed 1 megabit per second over a gigabit fiber. To every household, Verizon swooped in and said, no, you can't do it. That's anti-competitive. You can't sell directly to the customer. They ended up with an agreement where the fiber optic would be the backbone, but the PUD could not sell directly to the customer. You had to have a third-party ISP be the provider. And you can as the backbone you can charge the ISP $30 a month for the use of the fiber optic network, but you couldn't charge the customer directly. And actually that ended up being okay because then you could have little ISPs use this existing network. Anybody, just a VLAN on the network, you were assigned one and you got to be an ISP on it, and so it was it's an amazing service, and you can get gigabit to the home and over there, and but it was now it's $70 a month, $80-$90 a month. So prices of course come.
All right.
So what's the next story? Net neutrality?
Actually,
the
next story does pertain to Wi-Fi.
It's true.
And how Google broke it.
Yeah, if you are like me and you have 5 Google homes in your network and a couple of Android TVs and maybe 3 or 4 Android tablets in the house, you may have noticed sometimes your network goes down and crashes recently.
Hey, is that why your voice keeps cutting out?
It's very possible. The sad thing is that this is a problem that has happened due to how the Google devices, Google-made devices, respond when they wake up, and they flood the network with what's called multicast, which is pretty bad stuff if your router isn't designed to handle it. There has been updates being sent out by various router manufacturers to handle the increased traffic, and Google is said to be releasing a patch to make them slightly more network friendly.
Yeah, I haven't noticed an issue, but I don't use Wi-Fi a lot. As a network engineer,
Wires win.
Wires will always win.
Wires will always win.
But I mean, I haven't noticed any problems with my Wi-Fi stuff. So, but I will await the patch, and I assume my home, Google Home, will auto update because it doesn't have an interface or any way to. So,
Krug's comment is on point, though. The best way to secure your data is to DOS your own router.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody can get in. Nobody can get out.
Get in.
So
the safest network is no network.
yeah. Wait a second. Have you guys seen that advertised best network security?
No, you cut out the advertisement. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
you're
gone.
gone again.
So go ahead and Google in security. Scissors, the best network security.
Oh, Scissors is the best
Which is
network
the-
security.
AP
You put it in the chat. We
Scissors,
can't
the
hear
only
you.
network. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My internet is sucking today. I think it's partially my computer, partially my.
Just blame it on Google. We'll send them a
No.
bill.
Google Wi-Fi.
It's Google's fault. Tomorrow you won't have an excuse when your Google Chromecast or Homes or whatever automatically update themselves. So
I think I got a better link. The one that's the actual PDF. Right. The
All
second link, which is, if you want, this is my favorite of these little posters. I actually used to have this on my wall at work, and I should probably re-put it up there. So,
There we go.
achieve the ultimate in network security with Scissors, the only totally foolproof network security system.
It is.
Well, we do talk about cord cutting, right?
Very true. All right, well, we should move on. We have a story here about CES and how it was kind of a kind of not very big for cord cutters.
It was
this week.
subdued, to say the least.
So means compared to previous years where we've had various set-top boxes announcements and various over-the-air antennas and DVR solutions, it seems like this year was not nearly as many things going on. It looks like we have not seen various devices that were supposed to launch since last year. This is one of those the lowest years for CES as far as cord cutting has gone for. Since the category started.
I would say honestly that this was a pretty subdued year in my opinion overall. Now, granted, I have exactly one other year to compare it to, but this was way more subdued than last year in my opinion. There was the displays overall seemed to be a little bit more straightforward, kind of standard convention fare, and
but
I don't know, Clyde, you've got a lot more experience. So.
I will say, but the article is speaking it was subdued in regards to cord cutting.
Right.
In the fact that most of the main competitors aren't there. Like Tableau was there last year. They didn't show up this year. Mohu didn't show up this year. Or, Mohu was there. They didn't have anything. They just said, hey, we're putting out a whole bunch more stuff this year. Sling had their Sling Air TV last year that they rushed out to market without the features that they showed at CES last year. So they didn't even mention it this year. I didn't even see a Sling booth.
Yeah, I didn't see Sling or DirecTV.
And then, last year, like the article says, last year Amazon was bragging about all of their new TVs that were going to be Amazon Fire TV, like Element and Philips and whatnot, but didn't really see those brands this year. I don't even think those brands were there this year. We did see a couple different companies that said, okay, we're integrating Amazon Fire TV into their TVs, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think Amazon actually made a really good showing without even being there. They did have a presence. They had the treasure truck. And stuff like that.
Amazon as a company always has presence, but they weren't present in a lot of other booths and in a lot of other products like last year and a couple years ago. So
I thought it was a little bit more subdued, but I did think it was there fairly well. Like if you contrast Google Assistant versus the Alexa, stop.
Yeah.
the way that they presented was definitely different. But I did see a lot of TVs and other devices that integrated the Amazon voice recognition suite of tools, otherwise known as Alex. But I saw that in a lot of places. But if you're looking at in comparison to like Google Assistant, like there was a Google Assistant in like dozens of different booths. I would guess. I mean, they were all over the place working with other vendors.
Was it who was it that had a Netflix OS TV? Was that TCL?
I think that was
or was it Chang Hong? Okay, I think it was Chang Hong. Yeah, because it was like Netflix OS. What the hell is that? Then there was also Android and
they had
and
YouTube
Amazon.
Too.
Oh yeah, they had a YouTube TV. What the hell is this? But
yeah,
you know,
you think they really licensed those names?
Oh, they had to. But yeah. It was just about. I kept saying even last week when we did our show, it was just a weird year. A lot of the stuff we expected to see wasn't there, and it was like a lot of these companies took a huge step backwards, and
or presented exactly the same thing that they did last year. There were a couple of car demos that looked almost exactly the same, if not exactly the same. Like there was the one car where they had the doors open this year instead of closed, and another one where the paint job, like the accents had been changed. But there was a lot of repeat stuff.
Yeah, but you'll see that every year. There are certain displays I saw there this year that I've seen for the last 6 years. You know, you get something, you roll it out, and you put a bunch of money into it, you get your money out of it. But yeah, no, it was just a weird year, and I don't really know what to take from that. So, yeah, I put the link to the article in the chat if anybody actually wanted to go read the whole article. It's an interesting read, and with that, I think we should just move on.
We have a story here about PlayStation Vue, and it's now notifying subscribers that they are on packages that are discontinued. Basically, what they're doing is they're letting you know when you look inside your current package is, that you're on a package that is currently discontinued. So if you leave the package by upgrading or turning off your service for any reason, you will not be able to get that price again for that package. It will no longer be available for you.
Yeah, and the package in question is the Access package, which was the $39.99. So now the lowest package is going to be $44.93 for Core.
There's also was one called Slim, apparently.
Yeah. The Slim one. Yeah, I think the Slim one already went away.
Right.
Back when they did price upgrade a few months ago. So yeah, if you're a PlayStation Vue customer, you might be in for a little bit of a price gouge.
Yeah,
depending on what you're currently subscribing.
We finally got upgraded to the Core from the Slim package, which is what we signed up for initially. And so, we're paying the extra $10 a month, which is a little annoying, and I'm starting to question whether or not it's worth that. I mean, honestly, it's always been questionable whether it was worth the $30 a month. But
how many channels do you get with that?
I mean, I don't know. It's way more than I use. I mean, I only use like 3 channels. So, that's probably part of why I consider it questionably worthwhile. I mean, I guess recently we've added a few more. So maybe we use 5 different channels now. I mean, it's still, we get way more than we need, and that's fine. But $45 a month, now I'm starting to wonder now, right. And it's a question of how much they keep doing this. Yeah. They're starting to approach the price that I was paying before for cable TV that I thought was ridiculous, and that's why I left it,
And Philo looks more and more appealing every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if once once Disney gets their streaming service and I can pay for just Disney Junior or whatever for my kids, and then I can do what I get from Netflix and Hulu. I mean, that's Netflix is 70% of our watching anyways. So, and I'm probably dumping it at that point once Disney's available. So come on, Disney.
We'll see. We have a story about the fact that it looks like if you've been watching your movies on HBO, you've only been getting part of the movie. It looks like it's, the story here saying that if you've been watching HBO movies, that they've normally been movies that are set to the screen in the 16:9 aspect ratio, you unfortunately are getting the sides of the movie cut off in order to not get the black boxes on the top and bottom of your movie.
If you look at the screen right now, you can see a representation. They took the new Star Wars movie and then they're zooming it out to show just how much you're losing when you watch.
This is
Holy cow.
So this is your typical, I bought full screen. I got the full screen video, and I wanted to get the widescreen version. So
yeah, I mean, think about this. Just a few years back, we didn't have a choice. When you bought a movie, you got a 4:3 aspect ratio, and that is like 50% of the width instead of like maybe a third.
And
so
that's what caused us to get the pan and scan option on DVDs.
Right.
But, but the thing is, how much do you care about the black boxes? For me, I don't care because I'd rather see the full screen filled than those black bars. That drives me crazy. But so I don't care, but I can see how some people would be angry to find out that, we're missing a whole lot of stuff.
So I'm just the opposite. I would rather get the full screen and have the black bars because the movie was shot in a certain way. But that being said, I know that they also shoot those movies knowing that sometimes the aspect ratios are off, and they make sure the right stuff is in the middle third of the screen. So you're not really missing much. And I bet you anything, if nobody pointed this out, I wouldn't have noticed it.
See, and that is exactly why my new phone is 18:9 aspect ratio, so that you can watch those movies full screen without the black bars, without cutting anything off. So my question is, when are we going to get 18:9 TVs?
They're probably on the way. They're going to be 8.6K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're ready for it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, these movies, the format should be 16:9.
Well,
right? I mean, I'm kind of with Matt on this. I mean, I'd rather, if I've got a widescreen television, then why not show what my TV is capable of showing?
But stuff isn't shot in 16:9.
Nope, they've moved on to 18:9 or 2:1, and so it's the new wide, super wide.
Been. That's the cinematic recording has always been at that ratio. So this is the 16:9 was an approximation. It got close enough, and it still kept TVs at a aspect ratio that seemed relatively familiar to people. It's a 2:1 is a very small height, right, to width. So a lot of people have a hard time finding a place to put that in their home, and you have to get a really big TV. I mean, to get the same kind of height of the screen. So there's a reason that it's a movie theater aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Your TV, to get a decent height TV, you have to go to 65, 70 inch TV in order to get a picture that's the kind of height that you're accustomed to, because that aspect ratio is significantly wider.
Yeah, but they're not streaming this from a movie theater.
That's true, but HBO is cutting off the sides now to make it fit your 16:9
according to the article made it sound like they're cutting it down extremely, like potentially more than they need to. But
yeah, well, the real question to me is, are they just cutting off the sides, or are they doing like a pan and scan type solution? If there is some sort of intelligent cropping, then that's not that big of a deal. I kind
True.
of agree.
I'm with that. Yeah, if that's what it is.
If you're going to find that there's things that are happening in the periphery of the scene that are getting trimmed a little bit, then that would probably get pretty annoying.
So in this case, would we refer to HBO as a moil? So they're chopping off the tips. Just the edges. Just around the edges.
No.
All right. Hey,
All right.
I heard there was something from Amazon.
Amazon's been basically boasting that they think they are doing better than Roku, and that they are still going to be doing their smart TVs for everybody else. It looks like what they're saying is that they've went ahead and sold 3.8 billion had 3.8 billion streaming hours in the third quarter, and 19 million monthly users by the end of 2017. They're basically boasting that they are the best out there, and I don't know. Maybe they are.
The reason I threw this one in there is that I loved where in the article they say, even if the market numbers don't say it, we really are selling more than them. Even if the sales numbers show that they're like way outpacing us, we've got more users. And it was just like, okay.
Yeah, well, but that's, I don't know.
The hard side says, but no, we don't believe that.
I think the part of the problem, like, I get what you're saying, that it's a little silly sounding coming from them, but they actually probably have as good or better insight into the sales numbers of devices like Roku than what Roku has in comparison, right? Because they know how many they're selling for sure. And Roku knows about how many they're selling, but they don't know how many Amazon is selling. And Amazon has a really good grasp of how much Roku is selling because they sell a ton of them. And they can make pretty good projections based on that.
And to back it up, he said, we're unfortunately not super transparent in sharing our data out. I'll just say we have the data and we're pretty clear.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm pretty sure that's how he said it. And I was just like, all right, if you want to prove it, then put the data out there. It's like saying, oh, I know the truth, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to show it. I don't have to prove it to you. But no,
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, people that don't believe him at this point aren't going to believe his numbers anymore. Yeah. Because the numbers are his numbers to prove his point. It's not anymore validating.
I know, but like I said, that was the thing that just made this article stick out to me. So I was like, hey, I know people are passionate about Amazon, and they use Amazon a lot. I mean, I've been very vocal about I'm not a fan of the interface, but I use their service on my Roku. And I mean, what's the chance they're counting me as a Amazon user, even though it's on the Roku?
Yeah, I use it on both my Roku and my Apple TV now, right? So,
well, I gotta say that I personally prefer the Amazon interface. I like it a lot, but I want to mention something related to this article. I think 2 weeks ago I mentioned in my rant about YouTube leaving the Fire TV and how that was a big complaint. Well, once it actually left, I got a better grasp of what was going on, and once it left, there's effectively one thing that happens. I click on my YouTube app and it says, do I want to use Silk or Firefox? I say Silk, so I have an extra click, and it opens up the web page in the Silk browser that is exactly, and I mean exactly like the app was. Zero difference. So that being said, YouTube has gone from Fire TV, but it's still on Fire TV in exactly the same highly usable format that it was before.
There might be a feature or two that you are losing, and not having the touch, the specific to that interface kind of.
Perhaps
interface.
I have not found it yet.
Exactly, but if it's
Right.
not enough for almost anybody and it's only one click additionally, that's fine. Now, if Google does what Clyde fears that they might do and go ahead and say, you're coming from an Amazon device, we're cutting you off, then we'll see what happens there. And there's a good question if they should be doing that or what. And maybe that's as much as a bluff as they are going to be. And they called their bluff, and maybe that's as much as they're going to do.
Yeah.
Who knows? All I want is for these two guys to start figuring it out and work together, and do what they need to do to make it so the platform works. Nobody likes it when mom and dad fight.
Agreed.
Yeah. Maybe wasn't there an article that came out right at the end of the year where Amazon's working on their own YouTube service? Maybe that's the reason it was pulled.
Maybe.
I
don't recall that, but
there have been so many different companies that have come up and said, and we're going to make a competitor to YouTube over the years that I cannot remember them all. So I'm going to say yes, they probably did, but I don't remember.
But Amazon already has a YouTube competitor. You're looking at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're on it.
Twitch.
Yeah, it's called
And-
Twitch.
With the interesting story with YouTube today and how they've changed yet again their monetization model, there might be more people moving to Twitch. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have one last story on here. It is Hisense, and they're saying that they are going to be bringing Android TV and Google Assistant to its high-end range of 4K TVs. They already announced earlier that they would be using Amazon's voice assistant in order to do that on these TVs, but they are now going to also be producing models that use the Android TV and Google's Assistant. So these are huge displays, looking like up to a 75-inch panel. It's super bright. I didn't get to see it. You guys probably did. What do you guys think?
Well, that was the thing I was going to say is I would have geeked out like crazy if I had seen this at the Hisense booth, because Hisense, it was one of my first years at CES and Hisense put out a Google TV built into my thing. Go away. They put out a TV that had Google TV built into it, and it just happened to be the same year that Google said, oh, we're shutting down Google TV. And they kind of had to go at it alone. And then the next year, Google had already put out the Android TV, and I went back and talked to them. I said, so were you doing an Android TV model? And they went, no.
No.
And I said, they said, probably not. Because I think they got burned so bad. And then the fact that they finally, now this year, are doing a Android TV in their TV, I would have been like doing cartwheels. I've been waiting for this for like 5 years. But, awesome. I say good for them, because Hisense makes a great TV. They're not quite as affordable as they used to be now that they've got some recognition in the marketplace, but they still make quality TVs for the price, and if you can get one with Amazon or with Android TV, awesome.
Yeah, the Hisense TVs looked really good. We did see a bunch of the Hisense TVs. Now, I saw this same functionality with the Echo with the Alex and Google Assistant and Android TV in various other TVs. Cheng Hong had an Android TV with Google Assistant built in.
Yeah, and Sony, I was going to say Sony, Panasonic, and a bunch of them have had Android TV in their TVs for many years. But yeah.
So this isn't anything new, but it is cool that Hisense is getting it. Like Clyde said, Hisense's TVs look really good, and they make pretty good products. And at a reasonable price. Not as cheap as they could be, not the cheapest solution, but not as expensive as like Samsung or the like. So,
all right.
I just had a crazy thought.
Oh, what's that?
It's related, but barely. Next year, if you guys go to CES, or hey, maybe I go to CES, who knows? If you ever wanted the punk CES, so come out with a boombox or some type of mega horn or something and just yell, "Hey, insert your assistant here. Start playing Never Gonna Give You Up." Run. Just a really loud, just the whole floor.
Honestly, I mean, that's a great idea, but I don't think it would work because none of those booths actually had internet.
Oh, really?
I mean, because finding internet at that place is brutal. Because you got so many people with their phones connected all to the same towers. But, I mean, there's a good chance that they might, but I think most of those displays are on a closed
all those
loop.
connected TVs and all those connected speakers, and they're all just suddenly starting to say, "Okay, I'll start playing."
There was one in particular that their voice recognition demo. I swear there was just a person on the other side
You
of
mean
the
Bixby? Was
Like,
it Bixby?
Yes,
And it was
Bixby.
like,
I was
he was too busy. He was like, she went and talked at the wrong time, and he was like,
Yeah, he was trying to do 2 rooms at once, I think. And he was like, "Oh crap, gotta flip this light. Oh, gotta turn this on. It was
got to flip the light switch at the same time to get the light to show on front. But no, that was terrible.
No, but I do agree with Clyde that largely those were closed loop systems that were programmed to do exactly what they were supposed to do without worrying about the feedback. Like, and I could be wrong on that. Demo that was using Google Home, and that worked really well. My suspicion is that maybe that was a closed loop system that was doing what, going through its sequence.
And that reminds me, since we're on the Hisense, they chose terrible content that did not do the screens justice. Like a couple of the screens, or that one was watching the Power Rangers movie, and then another one was watching some movie that we couldn't identify, but it was not a good quality video. And there was like pixelation and stuff in the stream. So it was like they were trying to stream the same video to a bunch of different TVs off of one server, like probably like a laptop. And it was just like, I felt bad for them because normally Hisense has amazing. Like 1 year they had a big stage with the Jabberwockies were there. That was actually the year they announced the Google TV integration. And then, they usually have these big, amazing booths, but then this year it was like they were just kind of trying to skate through, just get through the week.
I did really like their laser lady demo though, where they had the chick get up and dance with the lasers, and there was like they had a bunch of laser beams with some fog that they had pumped into the room.
Forgot about that.
And then she had like mirrors or
her hands, so she could bend the lasers and
the
make them
lasers.
do different things.
Make them do
really
different
cool.
things. Like actually like looked like she picked up the laser and then swirled it around like a staff, and like that was pretty sweet. But overall, I do agree. The thing, we're kind of talking a little bit about gaffes and stuff like that. The one that I thought that was the funniest was Moon, their Royals Moon cinematic like mobile theater. I loved this thing, and I want to buy one. I'm seriously thinking about it.
I got to
pretty
post that video.
expensive, though.
Yes.
But man, like they had a bunch of 3D movie trailers from like 6 years ago. Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man Homecoming was last summer.
No, but it wasn't Homecoming. It was
Homecoming.
Well, the one I saw was Amazing Spider-Man. It was the previous Spider-Man guy, like before the remake.
No, yeah, the one I saw was Homecoming, which was from last summer.
And there was also like Priest, which that movie was like a went nowhere movie from like 5 years ago or something like that. I thought it was pretty funny. The trailers that I had were all like 5 years old, and none of them were very successful. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man was somewhat successful, but
Well, at least they had something better than zombie beavers.
Hey, don't knock Zombievers. That movie was hilarious. And no. Leave it alone. Jimmy, until you participate in one of our movie parties, you can't put down the movies we watch.
I know. It was just the only thing I could think of.
Which, by the way, Clyde, I heard you get your plug-in on today.
Oh, I did, because I was in the chat. I was correcting them.
Job.
But
I would just want to talk about one thing that I did see a story on at CS, and I was just curious if you guys saw it. There was apparently a fan with LEDs on it that you would spin and actually show a display, and you could actually mesh a bunch of them together to make a bigger display.
I was
apparently that was amazing.
Oh, it was. I was telling Mike that my band, I need a couple of those. I'm going to put them on the front of our guitar cabinet and do like fingers or something, throw up some hands. But they were really cool because I mean, if we talked about it, I think last Wednesday, because I think if you go out and there's a YouTuber named Techmoan that does like stuff for old technology. Yeah. He does that as his opening with a reel-to-reel tape player. So he's got LED strips on this reel-to-reel tape player, and it spins, and the LEDs are programmed to flash at a certain time. Well, you don't need a reel-to-reel tape player. This is like they've got either a 2-axe or a 2-blade or a 4-blade, and obviously 4-blade's going to give you more. But it looked, I mean, they were able to get like depth, like 3D floating, cool, awesome things. And we got I don't remember the name of the bag the name of the company, because the flyer I got is in the box that I mailed home, so it isn't here yet. But thanks to the holiday on Monday. But yeah, I was blown away.
It was really cool. I'll second that. Very cool.
I want to see it in person because I only saw it was on YouTube. Pretty good there. So it's like, that could be awesome.
If you had come with, you would have seen it in person.
I know. I had work to do. They wanted me there because it's
priorities. Priorities.
If it was a week before, I could have made it.
Yeah, if it was a week before, it wouldn't have happened because the town would have been full with New Year's Eve.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other thoughts on Hisense before we move on? All right. All right, so it's that time of the night where we get into our gripes, our praises, our whatever the hell we want to get off our chest. Who wants to go first?
I will go first.
All right.
I have been giving myself a little project. For my birthday, my wife said, go ahead and upgrade your little server, my little Plex server, because what I've got isn't working very well for us anymore.
So you let it annoy her enough that now she's just like, just do it?
No. That wasn't the plan. It may have worked out that way, but was not the plan, actually. So I was looking at building myself a Plex server, something that I could use to do, because a couple weeks ago I got this guy, which is the HD Home Run.
Yep.
This is the cable card version, so I can actually record what's coming in over my cable connection. And yes, I'm still using cable connection because the math for me says it's cheaper than paying for buttons. I know. But anyways, that works great. It records 3 streams at once. Goes towards my current Plex server, which is actually my little Western Digital wireless hard drive. It's got a little ARM processor in it that can barely handle running.
You were killing it.
That little
you were
thing could not handle it.
destroying it.
It was not happy with this because it was like, what are you having me do? So it couldn't handle it. So I talked to my wife and said, well, I kind of want to make it work better. And she said, well, go ahead. You can go ahead and get something that'll work for you. So I did some research. I started looking, okay, well, I want to build a server. And I started pricing parts out. And could I reuse old systems like the system I'm on right now? But if I'm going to use the system I'm on right now, I definitely can't stream with it. What am I going to do? I got to the point where I was looking at my options, and I ended up with one of these guys, an NVIDIA Shield. This is the cheaper one. It's about it cost me
$199, right?
No, actually $180 because I only got the remote, and I bought it at Best Buy, and I had some Christmas cards for Best Buy, so I got it for less than $150.
Cool.
So not bad, and also it's got a hardware accelerated transcoder in it that Plex supports fully.
Yep.
For up to 2 streams, so it can handle doing all my load. It can handle a full Plex server. I've been reading reviews about what you have to do, what you can't do, and it's working. And
it'll let you play your computer games in your living room.
And no, because don't have an NVIDIA card anymore.
Oh.
So
I'll trade
no,
it.
actually.
Oh wait, I don't know if I want to trade you.
That's okay. So I've got this thing. It's great. Turn it on. Great. It comes with 16 gigs of internal storage. Not enough. I have an old 2 gig Western Digital hard drive. Plug it in, get it working, and like every hour or so, it stops working.
Oh.
My external hard drive, various things I tried to make that work. I start transferring my files over, and just suddenly it stopped. I reformat it. I update the firmware on it. I turn on. I download the specific software for the Western Digital software to go into the settings of it and turn off the sleep settings so it doesn't try to fall asleep on me. And dang it! Now I have this darn system. So I'm wondering. My guess is that hard drive is failing, and that's why it's not working. Because now I'm going to have to do some more testing on it. It actually started working better when I reformatted NTFS with a Windows machine, and I believe NTFS handles error corrections slightly better than the old EXFAT does.
What you need is right here. This little thing is a USB drive, 32 gigs.
Right.
Cost me like $10. You just
Why would I?
Oh, instead of using a spinning hard drive,
Well,
just use this.
I need a place to store the videos that I capture with my HD home run.
Well, that's what I was saying. You were plugging that hard drive into the Shield, right?
Right.
So you just plug this in place of the hard drive because
then I could record 2 movies because that thing records at MPEG 2.
Oh wait, you said it was 2 terabyte.
Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought never mind.
No,
yeah.
I could possibly actually have it saved back to the wireless NAS, but do I really want to count on that little wireless thing with a little that little laptop hard drive inside of it? I don't know. So that might be what I do in the short term, but I'm probably going to be ending up taking that Western Digital hard drive somehow apart and getting a run of SpinRite on it to see if I can fix it. But other than that, I'm going to have to buy another hard drive.
Or just buy you a Synology or something of that sort.
See, to get the one I want, it's like $800.
You need Jimmy money to buy one of those things.
$180, $800, and
well, yeah, I think you can buy like a 2-disc Synology for like about $300.
Yeah, but if I actually want it to be my Plex server, I could possibly make something happen, and I could have it store over the network from that.
I think Synology comes with the software of the Plex server built in,
but not the ability to do the transcoding. And unless you get a pretty beefy one, if you can do the software version.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So you want the extra processing to go along with.
Oh, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. So then you're probably right. It probably will cost you $800. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I expect I will be taking my old Western Digital 2 gig external drive one way or another.
You might could buy the $300 one though, and just hook it up to an old computer that could do the processing for you, right?
Well, my computer I'm on right now, it's an older machine.
Mm-hmm.
It might be running slow due to it now having the updates for Meltdown. So,
Okay.
so that might have been our issue tonight for me and my audio. I don't know really.
Well,
what's
you
going
got
on.
better.
I know, but that's because I've like changed priorities on a couple things. So it made a little bit better. It's running a little bit smoother, thankfully. But this could be a server as well, because we're gonna see. But I do have one thing to say is that the other thing that I ended up getting is I'm getting a new computer that'll work as my. It's a very nice laptop that will act as my new streaming station. It will be much better.
Okay.
For stuff like that, I am a big fan of the small form factor retired business models that I get Micro Center. Like I've got this HP sitting down my feet. It's about that big. That's running. I've got it running my wireless controller. I mean, it's a Core i5. I've got 8 gigs of RAM in it. You can easily. I mean, it would easily run any NAS software you wanted.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like I throw FreeNAS on it with a RAID array, because you can get those standalone 5-disc RAID arrays for around $100. You fill
That's
it.
pretty cheap. Where
Well,
can
I
you
mean,
get those?
but they're just an array. It doesn't have any logic. It's just the discs, and then you throw your discs into it, and yeah.
So
I mean,
what
that's
do
the way I would do.
you'd have to software rate it rather than hardware rate it?
Well, no, so this is just the enclosure interface for the discs, and then you run FreeNAS on the computer, and you got your NAS. It will just talk to that and run RAID 5. Then you've got
which is plenty good enough for a Plex server.
exactly,
Right.
and I believe Plex is already built into FreeNAS, so that's the way I would do it, and probably come out to the same price as that $300 Sonali.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. All right. Rock on. Who's next?
You want me to go next, Mike, or you want to go
Everyone
next?
speak at once.
I'll go. The CES, it was cool. It was fun. A little bit less exciting than last year, in part because it wasn't my first year, in part because it seemed like it was a little bit more understated, but it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
CES is the opposite of sex. Your first time will always be the best time. You'll never get back that first time, but it's fun. And I'll say, it was good. It was good to hang out. It was good to get out there, and I was rather surprised, and in a good way, when we went to the Royal booth and that guy went, "Hey, you were on my plane in Minneapolis, right?" I said, "Yes, I was."
Nobody's ever done that to me. I guess I'm not memorable enough.
Yeah.
Clyde.
It's the long hair.
And it was also, and then there was also, because I got to go to the meetup with Tom Merritt, and Sarah Lane was there, and a whole bunch of people were there. And then we were at the meetup to see them, and a couple people came up to me and went, "Hey, you're Poodle Puncher." Okay. And so it was cool to be recognized, because I'm not anybody. But it's always cool to be recognized. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's one thing I was sad about, that they had that Tuesday night, and I got in late Tuesday night, so I got there basically right as it ended.
No, it was just getting started. That's why I was saying, if you would have caught the Uber over at MGM, we could have hung out.
Yeah, I mean, you left.
Well, I left shortly after because, I wasn't going to sit there and just stand next to Tom bugging him all night had to get out of there before I wore out my welcome.
Yeah. Well, that's the secret to being remembered positively, right?
Absolutely.
Show up, say hi, spend just long enough for them to remember that you were there.
And then I was able to get in a shot at the fact that Jackie keeps trying to book me on Court Killers, and it never happens on my way out.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it was fun though. We ate some good fish and chips at an Irish pub, and that was one of my highlights. I liked that.
I was gonna say, poor Mike had to sit there and listen to me and one of my Navy buddies talk for like 2 hours about stuff that he wasn't ever part of.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time listening to your stories. They were all very interesting, and you know, getting to see how things work in the Navy. That's
yeah, it was.
different lifestyle.
Rock on. All right, Jimmy, did you have something?
Yeah, so last weekend, me and my wife went to a party at a friend of ours' house, and so the guy, you know, our friend had one of the newer Rokus, and now I have a Roku, but the Roku I have is about 3 years, maybe 4 years old
So
by now.
it's elderly.
Yeah, the one that I have has. You remember the year when they came out with? They had like the 1, the 2, and the 3, and the 4 on the tops of them. So mine, the one that I bought, came from that year, and mine is the number 3 in that group, right? So that's the one I have, and it's still working very well. Serves me really good, and you know, can't really complain about much, you know. But if I had to complain about something, the interface, you know, is starting to get dated a little bit, you know, and that kind of thing. Especially since I bought the newer Apple TV, and the interface there is quite nice. So, so our friend had the brand new Roku Ultra.
Okay.
And the interface on that guy, oh, let me tell you, it's right up there with the Apple TV. No doubt about it. I mean, just really nice. And the services that he showed me an international service that you could sign up for, right? And basically get it for free. And you could watch a lot of the international television. You know, since my wife is Eastern European, you can get some of the Eastern European channels through there. So, you know, I was very interested in this guy, and the interface was just like really, I was very impressed with the interface, and it worked really well. And so, and I was impressed with it so much that I think I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I think maybe this weekend when I have a little time, I'll probably put in my order to get one.
My Roku 4 is essentially still pretty close to the Ultra, but the feature that the Ultra has that I'm absolutely in love with is the power switch on the remote, and that the buttons on the side now control TV volume. So I don't have to do 2 remotes. This one, all it does is turn on my TV and change the volume, and it drives me crazy. So, but yeah, no, I love that. That Roku, or the new Rokus, are pretty awesome and worth it.
Yep, absolutely.
Very cool. I'm actually surprised that there's that big a difference between the 3, which we own a 3 as well, and the Ultra, and how you're saying it's a super slick interface. Is there technically different, or is it just smoother to use?
It's I don't know. I mean, you know, if you've used the Apple TV, I would say it's kind of similar in the way that the look and feel is similar to what the Apple TV does. But not exact. It's not exact what the Apple TV does, right? But it's similar, right? And to where the older, you know, the one that I think you've got the same one I do, Matt, that 3, and so I mean, you don't really when you use it and everything, you don't really pay it. I never did really, pay it all that much attention. But then when you see the newer one, right? And especially when there's been like about a 3 or 4 year gap from, the one you have versus the newer one now, they've had a lot more iterations of the software and that kind of thing. So it's just like a really big difference, I mean, it just, I just can't, say enough about how really good that interface looked and how well it operated. And of course, the video quality, even on the one I've got, is great too, right? But and just how easy it was to get hooked up with these international services too. I haven't even tried that with mine now. Maybe it does too. That's something I've not tried with it. Maybe I want to try that first before I actually go and buy the new one just for that thing. But that was one thing that really impressed me as well. Not only that it looked so good and operated so well, but that these new international packages just kind of came in there, like that, just and very, very simple to add.
Right. Very cool.
Yep. Rock on. We should probably shut this down before Mike falls asleep over there. I saw him about ready to nod off.
He must have lost some sleep in CES.
It was one thing that we did not get a shortage of.
I mean, it's a 2-hour time difference though, so I kind of started to get used to the time there. So maybe that's part of why I'm having a hard
I
time.
laughed that first night that I was there. He's like, I'm gonna sleep in the morning. I said, okay, I'm probably not gonna be up before 11, and I woke up at 8. And like he's working out. It's like, why are we awake? All right, hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out. It's good to be back in our normal routine. All of you in the chat room, thanks so much for keeping it lively. Stick around. Reminder: after the show. We will need to get those votes tallied, choose a name. Those of you that are watching it after the fact, this is the main reason that you should come hang out live with us on Twitch Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central, every Wednesday. And also, just a heads up, the January movie party is coming up this Saturday. In response to Roberto Vieques on saying on Court Killers that he really would love to find a way to watch Samurai Cop with a bunch of people on the internet, I reminded him, hey, we do this thing called the movie party, and we will watch Samurai Cop just for you. Come on over. But if you go out to @DC Movie Party, we are currently voting on the second movie. Looks like they may be running away with it with Bunny Man 5. I can't even describe it. You have to go watch the trailer. There's also Society, which all I can describe it as is 90210 on crack. It's from like 1992. And then an old movie about some killer robot that I can't remember the name of. But yeah, go to @DC Movie Party, throw out a vote, and then 10 p.m. Central, right here in the Diamond Club Discord, we will be doing our movie party. And in the meantime, if you guys have any comments, suggestions, complaints, you can reach out to us at the VOD Squad on Twitch. And until next week.
On Twitter.
See ya. Oh, yeah, you're right. On Twitter. Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I mean, if you do try to edit